Om Aganda Timarandasya Ganajana Shivakaya Chakshur Umrisamyena Tajma Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Krishna Kirtana Bhanana Tanapano.
Hare Krishna. Welcome back to this video series on the Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. In this video, we complete Chapter 18, Conclusion, the Perfection of Renunciation, the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as it is. The entire Bhagavad Gita is concluded in 17 chapters, and in the 18th chapter, Krishna reviews the knowledge already presented. Krishna instructs Arjuna that he should surrender to the Supreme Lord within his heart and thus attain peace in the Supreme Eternal Abode. The most confidential knowledge is then explained by Krishna. Become my devotee. Always think of me, act for me, worship me, and offer all homage unto me. Surrender unto me. Do not fear sinful reactions. After hearing the instructions of Sri Krishna, Arjuna is fixed and will be ready to fight. Text number 40. There is no being existing, either here or among the demigods and the higher planetary systems, which is freed from the three modes of material nature. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Sudras are distinguished by their qualities of work, O chastisers of the enemy, in accordance with the modes of nature. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness are the qualities by which the Brahmins work. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the qualities of work for Kshatriyas. Farming, cow protection, and business are the natural work for Vaishyas, and for the Sudras there is labor and service to others. By following his qualities of work, every man can become perfect. Now please hear from me how this can be done. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, man can, in performance of his own duty, attain perfection. It is better to engage in one's own occupation, even though one may perform it imperfectly, than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Prescribed duties according to one's own nature are never affected by sinful reactions. Every endeavor is covered by some sort of fault, just as fire is covered by smoke. Therefore, one should not give up the work which is born of his nature, O son of Kuti, even if such work is full of fault. One can attain the results of renunciation simply by self-control and by becoming unattached to material things and disregarding material enjoyments. That is the highest perfection of renunciation. O son of Kunti, learn from me in brief how one can attain to the supreme perfectional stage, Brahman, which I shall now summarize. Being purified by his intelligence and controlling the mind with determination, giving up the objects of sense gratification, being freed from attachment and hatred, one who lives in a secluded place, and who eats little, and who controls the body and the tongue, and is always in trance and is detached, and who, without false ego, false strength, false pride, lust, anger, and who does not accept material things, such a person is certainly elevated to the position of self-realization. All conditioned souls are controlled by the three modes of nature. As Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport, the modes of material nature determine all activities, high, low, and in between, within every planetary system in the universe. Krishna is developing his summary of all the prior chapters. As a basic summary of the first 6 chapters, he explained karma and how detached work frees us from material bondage. Next, he summarizes the third 6 chapters, the Gyan chapters, in which work free from reaction is explained from the viewpoint of Gyan. When the eternal soul accepts that he is not the doer and surrenders to the ultimate sanctioner of all activities, the Supersoul, no reactions are cured by him. Krishna next described the progressive journey through karma and jnana to realization of the Supersoul. He then reached the philosophical conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti, in which the living entity not only realizes the Supersoul, but surrenders to him, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada elaborates on how one's work, although within the modes of material nature, can be practically turned into bhakti through nishkam karma yoga. He writes, everyone should think that he is engaged in a particular type of occupation by Rishikesh, the master of the senses, and by the result of the work in which one is engaged, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, should be worshipped. If one always thinks in this way, in full Krishna consciousness, then, by the grace of the Lord, he becomes fully aware of everything. That is the perfection of life. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 12, text 7, Tesam aham samut harta. The Supreme Lord himself takes charge of delivering such a devotee. That is the highest perfection of life. And whatever occupation one may be engaged, if he serves the Supreme Lord, he will achieve the highest perfection. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, worshipping Krishna by one's own prescribed work, offering it to him while thinking within one's mind, may the Lord be pleased by this work, one attains to the perfection of real knowledge. Rather than renouncing the work born of one's nature, one should worship the Lord through his work. Detachment and devotion while working, not renunciation of the activity, will cancel the defects inherent in the work. Srila Prabhupada's purport to text 47 concisely sums up the entire process. Anything done for personal sense gratification is a cause of bondage. The conclusion is that everyone should be engaged according to the particular mode of nature they have acquired, and they should decide to work only to serve the supreme cause of the Supreme Lord. Krishna then described the further steps up the yoga ladder. Those verses refer to a yogi on the path of Jnana Yoga who has purified his consciousness through work and has thus already progressed upward from the stage of karma to the stage of Jnana. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his comment to text 49, explains that all work is covered by fault. The person on the first level of sannyas rejects the faulty aspects of work, namely the mentality of being the doer and the expectation of profit. Thus, in due course of time, he perfects his sadhana. After having ascended to the level of yoga, he gives up work itself. This is the second stage of sannyas. Thus we can understand that a devotee who has worshipped the Lord by their work will not attain Brahman realization in the same way as does the Jnana Yogi. A devotee, after being purified by detached work, attains freedom from false ego and moves forward to realize and serve the Supreme Brahman. Text 54. 1. Who is thus transcendently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. He never laments nor desires to have anything. He is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional service unto me. One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service, and when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord, by such devotion he can enter into the kingdom of God. Though engaged in all kinds of activities, my devotee, under my protection, reaches the eternal and imperishable abode by my grace. And all activities just depend upon me and work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. If you do not act according to my direction and do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Under illusion, you are now declining to act according to my direction, but compelled by your own nature, you will act all the same, O son of Kunti. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna, and is directing the wanderings of all living entities who are seated as on a machine made of material energy. O scion of Bharat, surrender unto him utterly. By his grace you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal abode. Thus I have explained to you the most confidential of all knowledge. Deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. Because you are my dear friend, I am speaking to you this most confidential part of knowledge. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this, because you are my very dear friend. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reaction. Do not fear. In this purport, Srila Prabhupada glorifies full and immediate surrender to Krishna's service as the process that will qualify us for that service. He says that one may think that unless they are free from all sinful reactions, they cannot take to the surrendering process. It is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, they are automatically freed. There is no need for strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the Supreme Savior of all living entities with faith and love. One should surrender unto Him. Later, in this purport, Srila Prabhupada explains the uselessness of worry and hesitation. The particular words used here, ma, sucha, don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary adds further drops of sweetness. Krishna says, previously, I told you that you do not have the qualification for the most excellent, unalloyed devotion to me. At that time I said, whatever you do, whatever you eat. And I told you that your qualification was for karma, mishra, bhakti. Now, however, by my special mercy, I have given you the qualification for unalloyed bhakti. I have violated my own rule that unalloyed devotion may be obtained only when somehow or other one receives the mercy of my pure devotee, just as I will violate my own promise while fighting with Bhishma. The Lord tells Arjuna that actions performed purely in Krishna's service take place above the modes of nature on the transcendental platform. If one does not work for Krishna under Krishna's direction, he will be forced to work under the dictation of the modes of nature. Inactivity is not an option. As the most confidential knowledge, Krishna reveals that Arjuna and all others should do 4 things. First, they should always think of Krishna. Then, they should become devotees of Krishna. Third, they should worship Krishna. And fourth, they should offer Krishna their obeisances and all their homage. In the 2nd chapter, Krishna reveals the result of practicing these 4 elements of devotional service. Srila Prabhupada's purport to text 65 speaks for itself. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of Him and act for Him. One should not become an official meditator. Life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot think of anything but Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna, where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend of Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. Krishna has just completed speaking the Bhagavad Gita. What now should be done with the jewels of transcendental knowledge just spoken by Krishna? Should they be kept secretly or distributed widely? If they should be distributed, who is qualified to receive them? What result comes to one who hears, studies, or preaches Krishna's message? Text 67. This confidential knowledge may not be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. For one who explains the supreme secret to the devotees, devotional service is guaranteed, and at the end he will come back to me. There is no servant in the world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. And I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation worships me by his intelligence. And one who listens with faith and without envy becomes free from sinful reaction and attains to the planets where the pious dwell. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, you have heard this attentively with your mind. And are your illusions and ignorance now dispelled? Arjuna said, My dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy, and I am now firm and free from doubt, and I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Sanjaya said, Thus I have heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who is speaking personally to Arjuna. O King, as I repeatedly recall this wondrous and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I take pleasure being thrilled at every moment. O King, when I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with even greater wonder, and I rejoice again and again. Wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. On the outset of the Bhagavad Gita, the blind king Dhritarashtra was eager to hear Sanjaya's prediction of the outcome of the ensuing battle. Here is Sanjaya's answer. Dhritarashtra, give up hope. Victory belongs to the Pandavas because Krishna favors their side. In text 73, Arjuna said, O my dear Krishna, O infallible one, my illusion is now gone. I have regained my memory by your mercy. I am now firm and free from doubt and prepared to fight according to your instructions. Srila Prabhupada's purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, 2nd Canto, Chapter 4, Text 19 explains, In the beginning, Arjuna placed himself as one of those who desired self-satisfaction, for he desired not to fight in the battle of Kurukshetra. The Lord preached the Bhagavad Gita, in which Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, and also Bhakti Yoga were explained. Because Arjuna was without any pretension, he changed his decision and satisfied the Lord by agreeing to fight and thus become selfless and surrendering to Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur adds the following exchange between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna replies, What more can I ask? Abandoning all dharmas, I approach you for shelter. I am now free from anxiety and have full trust in you. Henceforth, having taken full shelter of you, I will accept your order as my dharma. You are the subtle bestower of shelter. I will no longer follow the dharma of my ashram or the processes of jnana yoga and so on. From now on, I will have nothing to do with any of those. Then Krishna says, My dear friend Arjuna, there remains a little work left in the matter of my relieving the earth of her burden, and I want to do this through you." Thus addressed by the Lord, Arjuna took up his Gandiva bow and stood to fight. Srila Baladev Vijayabhushan ends his Gita Bhushan, the ornament of the Bhagavad Gita, with the following words: "Having obtained the boat of the Lord's desire, I have submerged myself in the sea of the Bhagavad Gita, where I have collected many very wonderful gems of its purports. Due to my great feelings of joy, I cannot raise myself out of the sea. I only hope that the cunning son of Nanda is pleased with me. I, Baladev Vijayabhushan, have with great effort compiled this commentary named Sri Gita Bhushan. May the saintly devotees correct any faults it contains. They are always eager to taste the sweetness of pure love for Sri Govinda, and their hearts are always melting with compassion." Srila Prabhupada sums up his message of the entire Bhagavad Gita in the final paragraph of his Bhaktivedanta purport. He says, "The living entity in his original position is pure spirit. He is just like an atomic particle of the Supreme Spirit. Thus Lord Krishna may be compared to the sun and the living entities to sunshine. Because the living entities are the marginal energy of Krishna, they have a tendency to be in contact with either the material energy or the spiritual energy. In other words, the living entity is situated between the two energies of the Lord, and because he belongs to the superior energy of the Lord, he has a particle of independence. By proper use of that independence, he comes under the direct order of Krishna. He attains his normal condition as the pleasure-giving potency." That ends the final chapter of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, translated by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Thanks for watching. Hope you have received a clearer and broader understanding of the Gita. If you do not have a copy of the Bhagavad Gita as it is, you can look for the link in the closing credits. Or, if you contact me, I can help you with that endeavor. Please try to acquire one. Again, thank you and have a blessed day. Hare Krishna.
Bande Rupa Sanatana Raghujaga Sri Jiva Gopalakum Krishna Kirtana Ganana Tana Param Primam Tambani Vira Dhira Jana Priya Kana Nima Sajam Pujito Krishna Kirtana Gana